בסייעתא דשמיא נעשה ונצליח. This show is going to be לעילוי נשמת אליעזר הכהן בן אנג'לה, and also for לעילוי נשמת נתן בן זויה, and for רפואה שלמה חיים הלל בן רבקה, and also for תשובה שלמה to all of Am Yisrael. In the Mishkan, or in the Beit HaMikdash, the room that was inside, the innermost room inside, was the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies. And in there was the holiest place in the whole world. It was the place where Hashem, the Shekhinah, was the most intense, the most concentration in that area. Now, once a year, on the holiest holiday, which is Yom Kippur, the holiest person, the Kohen Gadol, would go into the Kodesh Kodashim, only once a year. Now, risking his life, he would go in and offer the kitoret to atone for Am Yisrael, and he would leave right away. He wouldn't just stay over there for a little longer. He would do the incense and leave right away. And if any small thing that he did wrong, if any type of thing that he thought wrong or did incorrectly, he would on the spot die, and he would be dragged out. He would have to be dragged out by a golden chain that was attached to his leg. Since nobody else except for the Kohen Gadol was able to go inside the Kodesh Kodashim, they couldn't, if he died, they couldn't get his body. So they did is they attached a chain around his leg, that if he died, okay, fine, we will just drag him out. And when did this happen? When all three of the three dimensions of holiness would come together. The holiness of space, time, and person. When they got together, the revelation of Hashem was revealed, was a lot more in the world. And this is hinted in the Kiddusha prayer. Whenever we say Kiddusha in Amidah, we say Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvot Meluch Haaretz Kevodo. We say Kadosh, 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 Hashem Tzvakot. We say Holy, 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 Hashem, Master of Legions. So, because we have the three holies, now we have Hashem Tzvot. There was one time, one of the Chachamim, Rabbi Ishmael ben Elisha, he was Kohen Gadol, and one time he went to the Kodesh Kodashim, and he had a vision, revelation, I guess if you could say. He had a revelation of the Shekhinah. Hashem came over to him and said, Ishmael, my son, bless me, give me a blessing. The Kodesh Kodashim, we see, was so holy that it wasn't subject to the restrictions of nature. The restriction of space didn't apply to it. How do we see this? Because we have the exact measurements of the Kodesh Kodashim. We have the measurements of the Aron, the Ark, and also the Kiruvim on the Ark we have. But they don't, you add them up, they don't add up. What does that mean? They don't fit into Kodesh Kodashim. You have this measurement, you have this one. They're too big. Yet they were still inside there. How? It's understandable, because space is something that's nature. Since the Kodesh Kodashim was above nature, it was able to do it. It didn't have the laws of the space didn't govern it. Now, what is the Kodesh Kodashim? The Kodesh Kodashim was the representation of the Torah. How? Because in the Kodesh Kodashim was the Ark of a covenant. And inside of it was the tablets, the second set and also the first set, the fragments of the first set of tablets. and right next to it was a Sefer Torah, a Torah scroll that was written by Moshe, and right next to it was a jar of the manna. Now, it was called the Aron HaBrit, the Ark of the Covenant, for a reason. Why? Because inside of it was the Torah, and the Torah is an eternal covenant between Hashem and the Jewish people. It's eternal. It can never be disconnected. It can never be discontinued. How do we see this? That whenever Hashem asked Moshe to bring donations for the Mishkan, he told Moshe, "Veikhu li truma." They should take from me a portion. Take to me a portion. The Midrash says that it's veikhu li. They should take me. Hashem is saying, take me. Meaning, Hashem is saying, I give you my Torah. I give you myself also with it. You take my Torah, you take me also. The Midrash brings a parable of a king that had a daughter, his only daughter, and she was getting married. The prince came from a very distant land, and he came and he married her. Now, after the wedding, he said, "Okay, fine. We're gonna go to my palace. We're gonna my kingdom, and we're gonna rule over there." The king of this land told him, he says, "Listen, she's my only daughter. I can't tell you not to take her. Why? Because you married her. She's yours. She's your wife. You can do whatever you want with her. But please do me a favor. He says, wherever you go, please put a small room over there for me, so that whenever I come, I could be with you guys over there. I could be right next to you guys. Why? Because I cannot go away from my daughter. I cannot be separated from my daughter. The same way that Hashem tells the Jewish people, I gave you Torah. The Torah, I cannot disconnect from it. It's mine. It's the thing that I have." He says, "But please do me a favor. Wherever you go, make a house for me. Make a house so that I could dwell in." We see that the whole essence of the Mikdash is the Torah. The whole dwelling place of the Shekhinah, where the Shekhinah is the whole essence of it is the Torah. Now the Torah is also linked with Shabbat, because the Chachamim said that the Torah was given on Shabbat, and also that Shabbat is equivalent to the entire Torah, to all the mitzvot of the Torah. And Shabbat was also given to study Torah. Now, what is the Torah? For example, every machine that someone has, you have a car, you have a phone, you have a toy, you have something. Every machine or something comes with instructions. If you use it a different way than the instructions say, you can possibly endanger either it or yourself. If you have, for example, you have fireworks or something, you take it and you say, "You know what? I don't understand how it works. I'm going to take it. I'm going to light it, and I'm going to hold it in my hand." What is it going to do? It's going to probably blow off your hand. Are you going to say, "You know what? Look, I have this something, whatever it is. I'm going to use it however I want." In the end, you don't use it correctly, and you hurt yourself, or you hurt it, you break it. Now, so no machine, nothing is more sophisticated than the universe itself. And within the universe, one of the most complex things is man itself. Now, the manufacturer, obviously he gave instruction manual. What's the instruction manual? The Torah. The Torah comes with 613 mitzvot. And each mitzvah is an instruction, it's a step, it's a guide to what to do, how to do in life. How to live your life to the best possible way. Not only the Torah is instruction manual, It's also the blueprint of the Torah. Why? Because every leaf, every mosquito, every acorn that exists, every grain of rice, sand, whatever it is, the smallest thing you could think about, it goes according to the Torah. The Torah says, honor your parents. So what Hashem said? Okay, fine, no problem. I'm going to make parents. The Torah has the mitzvah of shluach hakan, that you take the mother bird away, you shoot her away, you take the eggs, you take the chicks. Well, okay, so Hashem says, no problem, I want to make it so in a way that it's going to be mother bird and the eggs and chicks, and to make this mitzvah possible. And not only that, the Torah is also the purpose of the world. How do we know it's the purpose of the world? Because we know because of the first pasuk in the Torah. It says, Bereshit, bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. It says, in the beginning, Bereshit, in the beginning, Hashem created heaven and earth. Now, the Torah does not use extra words. It's not just some type of history book that, okay, this is the easiest way to explain it. Or whatever we want. We write whatever we want because this is the way we felt like it. Every word that the Torah uses, even every letter that the Torah uses, is for a reason. So then why not just simply write, God created heaven and earth? Why do you have to say Bereshit? Why not bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz? So Rashi comes and says and explains. He says, why Bereshit? Because Bereshit means, is coming to say Bereshit, bishvil Reshit. So what's called Reshit? Bishvil means because. So he's saying bishvil Reshit, because of Reshit. And what's called Reshit? Reshit is, the Torah is called Reshit. Midrash says, Hashem said to all the things that He created. He says, if Am Yisrael, if Israel is going to accept the Torah, good. You fulfilled the purpose that you were created for. It's fulfilled. However, if they will not accept the Torah, then I will turn you to complete emptiness. I will destroy the whole world. Why? What's the reason that Hashem said this? Because simply there's no point of creation. Hashem created the world so that there will be Torah in the world, that Am Yisrael would be connected to the Torah. The whole entire reason for creation was the Torah. Without Torah and without mitzvot, there's no reason. Another proof that we have is that it says, for weren't for my covenant day and night, I would not have set up the laws of heaven and earth. Meaning that all the energy that we have, energy that comes from our own energy, or energy from the sun, energy from fossil fuel, whatever it is, any energy has to be used for Torah, either to study Torah itself, or to enable someone to study, or to enhance Torah study. All these type of things, either to do it straightforward, pay for someone to learn, or another way, a different way. Any way, we have to use it for Torah. Now, if you look at this, you understand this. Now everything becomes different. The whole outlook is different. Now, so how is it different? Because automatically you understand, you start realizing that wasting 1 hour is worse than wasting $1 million. Because you see that the whole entire reason was to learn Torah. You don't learn Torah for 1 hour. You just totally destroyed $1 million. Now, if a person tries to deceive the Torah, or tries to go against the Shulchan Aruch, try to find a different way, not to find it, I do my own way, what is he trying to do? He's trying to go against, he's trying to deceive reality. He's trying to say, listen, reality is like this, I want to go a different way. So what does that mean? If the guy takes his car, drives off the bridge, Chas v'Shalom, what is he going to do? Listen, I want to go my own way. Okay, no problem, here, die. This is what's going to happen to you. He's doomed to fail. It's a failure thing waiting to happen. This is for example, let's say there's a guy that buys a new car, and it says in the manual, put high octane gas. He reads it, he says, I'll do whatever I want. What does he do? He puts milk inside. He opens the gas tank, pours nice, fresh milk, and it's fresh, brand new, expensive milk, the best one. If anything, the milk is more expensive than the gas. You buy a whole entire thing of milk, it's more expensive than 1 gallon of gas. But what happens? The car doesn't start. The guy is like, these guys rip me off. I put such expensive milk inside. It doesn't start. What does he do? He writes a letter to the company. He says, this car is garbage. He says, I put nice, fresh milk inside and it doesn't go. They send him a letter back. They say, shote. He says, you fool. Shote sheba olam. What's wrong with you? A car doesn't go on milk. It goes on gas. You don't just put milk inside, decide what you want, and it's gonna run. You have to put what's meant to put over there. How is another thing that we can see this? That whenever Hashem said, if not for my Torah, not for following the Torah, not for being tzaddikim, not for being righteous people, we see all this in the time Hashem almost completely wiped out the whole humankind. We see this from the flood. Whenever Noach and his family, a total of 8 people were the only ones saved from everybody in the world, wiped out in the flood. And also, not only that, also 6 million Jews in Holocaust, wiped out. We see all this in the Torah, in Parshat Bechukotai, Ki tavo ha'azinu. It says, the Torah describes it in detail, all the horrific things that we're gonna see if the Torah is violated. Then somehow we start asking questions. How could this happen? We're surprised that Hashem did what He said is going to happen. So, for example, if someone says, nowadays you have a lot of people that say, I don't believe in God. Why? Because the Holocaust happened. I can't believe there's a God that could kill so many people in such a hard way, in such a this. So what are you supposed to tell them? You're supposed to say, listen, if anything, it's the opposite. Because of the Holocaust, that's exactly why you're supposed to believe in God. Look at the Pesukim, look at the Torah, what it says. It speaks it out specifically. This is exactly the reason why you're supposed to believe in God. Now, in the other hand, not only the curses that happen, that are shown over there, also those same places that it said the curses, it also says brachot, if we keep the Torah. That's one reason why the Torah was given on Shabbat. Because Shabbat testifies that the world has a creator, the same way that the Torah is the blueprint and the purpose of the world. Shabbat testifies, says Hashem created the world. Whenever we keep Shabbat, we testify Hashem created the world. He created on 6 days, rested on the 7th. We break Shabbat, we say, I don't believe it. I don't even believe God exists. Now, some people, whenever they think of religion, what do they think about? Oh, it's no fun. You can't have any fun. You have to live like a robot. Everything is not allowed. The rabbi says not allowed, not allowed. Torah says not allowed, not allowed, not allowed, not allowed. They even learn a little bit. They understand it's not true at all. Not everything's not allowed. Everything is allowed. That's exactly the opposite. If you don't learn the Torah, you don't understand what it says in the Torah, you're right. Everything that you're doing is not allowed. But whatever the Torah says makes everything allowed. The Torah does not tell you not to live your life. It just tells you how to live your life. It's the instruction manual. For example, if someone hears that there's ice is good in the middle of the summer, it makes you, rehydrates you, especially if it has electrolytes inside of it, it's nice. So what does he do? He goes to the store and he buys a whole pack of them, and he says, listen, I heard it's good, what am I going to do? He takes it, starts eating one by one. This guy eats 20 ice pops, and in the end, he's killing, his stomach hurts so badly, he feels like he's going to throw up. He's in such big pain. So I thought it was good. Of course it's good. You just have to know how much, when, how, what, how much. You can't just take everything, do whatever you want. Another example is if someone has a strep throat or something. Someone has some type of infection. He needs antibiotics. He gets prescribed penicillin. The doctor says take 4 tablets for 10 days. Okay, said no problem. 2 days pass. He's on schedule. Every day he took 4 tablets. Second day he comes. He says, you know what? I feel so much better. So, why do I have to waste so much time? I see it's working. Let me just do it all at once. He takes all the pills. Takes 36 tablets. On the second day, since the first day he took the first 4. Second day he says, you know what? I feel better from the first 4. Why do I take him? He takes 36 tablets all at once, and what happens? He overdoses and dies. Because since you had to take it slowly, piece by piece, he took it all at once, he died. Because he didn't know how, he didn't have the instructions. He didn't listen to the instructions. He had it, the doctor said, take this and this amount. He takes all of it at once. So the Torah doesn't say, don't live, be like a robot, don't do, don't this, don't that. Rabbi Yagen one time I heard Rabbi Yagen saying, he said he was speaking in a crowd of soldiers, and he says, everything that you do, all the desires that you do, I do them also. They were like, wow, what are we doing? The rabbi's cool now. What now? He said, all the things that you do, I do also. The only difference between me and you is that you're going to get punished from it, I'm going to get rewarded for it. Why? Because I do it when it's allowed, and I do it in the right way. Meaning that you can enjoy. You just have to know how, when, and in what manner. Now, what does it mean by whenever we say that we have to accept the whole Torah? If we accept the whole Torah, we don't accept the whole Torah. We say I want this part, I want this part, I want that. I like this one, I like this one. Even if we say I like the whole Torah except this one piece, are we really doing Hashem's will? Hashem's will is not I want this part, I want this part. Hashem's will is no, I want you to have all of it. Take the whole thing. Take the whole part. That's why it says, the Torah says, Im bechukotai telechu ve'et mitzvotai tishmeu v'asitem otam. Torah says, if you go by my statutes and you keep my commandments and you do them. Now, why does it say v'asitem otam? Why does it say and you do them? Why isn't it just saying you keep my commandments? The Torah is saying over here that it's not enough just to hold the Torah in your heart, to just I'm religious at heart. Meaning you actually have to do the mitzvot. V'asitem otam. To do it. You do the mitzvot. You do the commandments of the Torah. And you do the mitzvot. You do what Hashem wants. You do Hashem's will. Follow the whole Torah. On the blessings you will get, you will not believe how much blessings you have. Hashem promises blessings. Blessings will come upon you. However, it says, the Torah says, if you despise my statutes, not doing all my commandments, and you only do basically saying, if you only do what's convenient for you, you like to do this, you like Shabbat, so you're going to keep Shabbat. You like this thing. You like kosher, so no problem. You live in the middle of Israel. What's the problem? You keep kosher. There's a kosher restaurant and everything. You have to look hard not to find a kosher restaurant. So you no problem. What's the thing? Listen, I have to steal in business. I have to. How am I gonna live? Or I have to talk kosher naga. What do you mean? I'm gonna zip around my mouth the whole time, and I can't talk anything. I'm gonna be depressed. All these type of things. This is only doing for what's convenient for yourself. Or if you say, you know what, I'll be a good person, but I won't keep Shabbat. Why do I have to keep Shabbat? I want to work. What's the big deal of working? It's good. I'm keeping myself busy. Or you're saying, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym. It's good. Rambam says you have to keep your body busy. Keep you have to stay in shape. Hell, you have to be healthy. But what's the problem? The gym is filled with girls that are immodest. You say, listen, I need to go. I need to be healthy. I need to do the Rambam said. The Rambam says you have to be healthy. Not this way. This is not because this is doing what you want. Something that connects to your lifestyle. It connects to my lifestyle, no problem, I'll do it. But if it doesn't, I'm not doing it. Then, what will happen then? All the curses will fall upon you. All the curses, all the things that says in B'chukotai, Kitavo, Hazinu, all these type of things. Basically, the Holocaust will be personal to you. You have a personal Holocaust. You take one mitzvah away, it's like having a sack of gold. All the mitzvot you do, all the music, it's so beautiful. It's like having a sack of gold with a hole in it. Eventually, all the gold is just going to fall out. You're not going to be left with anything. We wouldn't want to drive a car that has 3 wheels and be maybe in a problem, or having maybe go on an airplane that has a screw missing a little bit. There was, I think, a few years ago, there was I think Russia was sending a jet or something. I think it was Israel actually. They decided to try to send a jet. The jet exploded. They figured out why it is that. They said because one screw wasn't put in completely. It was a little bit sticking out. Because of that, the whole entire thing exploded. So one small little problem could mess up everything. So we have to understand that even one mitzvah we cannot just leave out. What's another example? Torah, Sefer Torah. If you have a Sefer Torah, beautiful, nice, everything written correctly, everything written beautifully. If there's one letter not there, the whole entire thing is pasul. You can't use it. You can't use it to read from. Even if one letter is messed up a little bit, looks like a different letter or this, that, something that would make it pasul, the whole entire Sefer Torah is pasul. The whole entire Sefer Torah there's no holiness to it. It's not a Sefer Torah, it's maybe a Chumash, it's not a Sefer Torah. Now, a lot of people say, even if they do keep Shabbat, what do they say? I keep Shabbat, but I this and that, and something that they do on Shabbat, it's not allowed on Shabbat. I keep Shabbat, but I drive to shul on Shabbat. Or I keep Shabbat, but I read my bills because I want to get it over with on Shabbat. I'm not doing anything anyways. They do something on Shabbat that they convince themselves that there's no problem. They don't understand why it's not allowed, or they don't want to understand why it's not allowed. Now, everybody wishes to be healthy, but if someone would say, listen, for a science experiment, I'll remove your nose. But then the scientists say, no, you know what? Don't worry, you still breathe. You can still breathe. We're going to put a tube down your throat. You're going to be able to breathe. Don't worry. You're not going to have a nose. Is any normal person going to volunteer to do this? And I say, of course, no problem. Even for a lot of money, they're going to say, no, I'm not doing this. I want my nose. It makes me a human. I'm going to look like a skeleton. So Hashem wants someone that's complete, someone with a nose, someone with all the mitzvot. Even with someone it's a nose, you technically can live without it, you have a tube. No, I want a nose. Hashem wants all the mitzvot. He wants the Jews. He wants a Jew that has a soul that is perfect, that is perfectly whole and healthy. Not Jews that decide, I want this, I want this, I want this. So, the Torah can't only be kept, but it also has to be studied. You have to study Torah. Every Jewish man has a requirement to make a fixed time every day to learn. So, the Gemara comes and asks, how do women get the zchut, get the merit to be resurrected, to get the resurrection and get olam haba? Now, if you think about it, how can the Gemara ask this question? Women don't have mitzvot? Women have a lot of mitzvot. What does this tell entire thing? That what zchut they get? They do mitzvot, they get olam haba, no? Yeah, of course. But what's the thing? What's the zchut that gives them olam haba? The Gemara answers that it's the merit, it's the zchut of sending the husbands to go learn Torah, of letting them learn. When the husband wants to go to shiur, he wants to go to daf yomi at night, or he wants to go early in the morning to learn, she shouldn't say, what do I get married for? You go to work, you come back home, right away you go back to the shul. You go to the shul. After you come home, I want you to be here. That's it. No, don't go to work. Don't go to the shiur. Don't go to learn. Go to work, come home, that's it. You shouldn't say this. Why? Because, for example, if the wife hears that the husband is offered position of king, the king of the town, and she will be told, you're only going to be able to see him once a week. What's she going to say? Of course, listen, I'm going to be queen. I'm going to be queen. It's the best thing, the best title. No problem. Go. I'm going to be queen. It's going to be the best thing. Or if the wife is going to hear, husband is going to be Kohen Gadol. Of course, it's such a big title. But the thing is, what does the Mishnah say? The Mishnah says that Torah is even greater than being a Kohen, a Kohen Gadol, and even from being royalty, from being the king. Torah is even greater. So what does the good wife do? She encourages her husband, go to the shul, go learn, go teach, go to the yeshiva. It's the best investment for both of them. In olam hazeh and olam haba. There was a story that the Gemara brings, that the Zohar brings. The Zohar brings a story of Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba one time saw an orphan in the middle of the street. No one was able to teach him or even send him to yeshiva, so he says, you know what, I want to help this kid. He asks, what's the kid? He asks the kid, what's your name? He said, my name is Yossi. So he said, if I take you to my yeshiva, will you learn? He says, how much you pay? He says, how much do you want? Yosef says, I want 12 cups full of gold. Rabbi Abba thought about it. He says, okay, no problem. Come to learn by the yeshiva. Yosef came, learning, great enthusiasm. The Satan, at that moment, automatically said, listen, I just lost a worker. I just lost an employee. So what does he do? He goes to Yossi, and he says, Yossi, remember how we used to be good friends? We used to do this, we used to do that. How can you go right now learn Torah? We used to be best friends. What did I ever do to you? I always gave you good times. You used to throw stones at cats. Have fun. We're learning Torah. So he says, the Satan says to him, he says, and also not only that, how's your bank? How's your money? How's your this, that? You making any money? He says, yeah, they said, you know, they're going to give me 12 full cups of gold. Satan was like, will you believe this rabbi? You look at him, he doesn't even have anything. He doesn't have any money. Yossi starts believing, he starts, you know what, maybe you're right. What does he used to do? He starts to fall asleep. Rabbi Abba comes, he sees Yossi sleeping, he says, hey. He says, get up. So what happened? Yossi says, you promised me 12 cups of gold. He says, of course. You're not learning. Learn. Sit and learn, and you're going to get. I said, okay, fine. He starts learning again. He's learning with enthusiasm. Now Rabbi Abba is wondering. He says, Bemet, how am I going to pay this kid? I don't have this money. He goes home. He starts thinking. The wife said, no, what happened? I see you're thinking a lot. What happened? He says, I told this kid I'm going to pay him. I'm going to pay him 12 cups of gold. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. He said, Hashem is going to pay. Hashem is going to provide it. Don't worry about it. You have to have emunah. Know that everything happens from Hashem. He says, you know what, you're right. Said. Suddenly, a few minutes later, he was knocking on the door. He's knocking. He opens the door, and he sees an old man. He says, where's the rabbi? He says, no, he's in the room over here. He says, it's an emergency, I have to see him. Can I go? He says, go get him. He sees a bag holding on his shoulder. He sees there's a bag on his shoulder. Rabbi says, what happened? He says, I was in the shul on Shabbat, and I heard Rabbi Yochanan teaching, and he says that the ignorant are not going to rise in the resurrection of the dead. He said, it says that your dead will come to life, for the dew is the dew of light. It says in Yeshaya, in Isaiah 26:19. Meaning that whoever has the dew of Torah will resurrect by it. Whoever doesn't, won't. So he says that only if someone has Torah will they resurrect. The old man, he understood this. He said, listen, take the sack. He opens a sack, he opens the bag, and he spills gold out. A full bag of gold. Sparkling gold, beautiful gold. He said, my whole life I worked like a dog. He said, I retired, but this is my savings. He says, but I never thought of it. He said, I heard so much. My whole life I was going after money, going after everything. I barely learned any Torah. He says, take all this Torah, I take all this money. Because whenever someone dies, he doesn't take anything with him, so I can't take this money anyways. He says, take this money and buy me some olam haba, please. Find some way. Rabbi Abba said, no problem. Come tomorrow, and we'll see how it is. He leaves the money over there. He leaves the money, and Rabbi Abba and his wife start counting the money. They say, mamash, 12 cups of gold, exactly. They went to Yossi. They say, this man is giving you all this gold in exchange for the zechut of half of your Torah study. Yossi says, oh, Baruch Hashem, I got the 12 cups, no problem. He signed right away. Very nice. Mazal tov. The man was happy. Yossi was happy. Very nice. Yossi learned for many years. 2 years passed, and he realized what happened. And he starts screaming. The Beit Midrash. Rabbi Abba comes and says, what happened? Why are you screaming? He says, the old man better be alive. He says, why? Because he ripped me off. He says, why? I learned in Talmud Yerushalmi, it says that the whole world is not worth a single word of Torah. Of Torah study. Learning Torah is not worth one single word. Even the 630 mitzvot are not worth learning the Torah. all the reward that someone gets for one word of Torah is greater than greater than any mitzvah that he does. So I was such a fool. So how can I sold him half of my learning? He says it was a mistake. Do whatever you want. Cancel it. Give me back my Torah. So they called the man. Yossi took the money, threw it back at him. He says it was a mistake. I want my side of the deal back. He says, no, it's not. It's not a mistake. The rabbi signed. I'm sorry, you cannot take it back. He throws the money back at Yossi. Back and forth, they're throwing it, this, that. No, I want it back. I don't want it. No, you can't go back on it. Rabbi Abba said, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll give this money to yeshivot. Both of you are going to get the zchuyot. Yossi, you could keep your learning, and the old man could invest in Torah study, invest in other yeshiva students learning. Because of this, Yossi learned, and became known as Rabbi Yosef ben Pazi. Why Rabbi Yosef ben Pazi? What is Pazi? Pazi was not his father. Pazi means gold. It's Paz. Paz means gold. He became a Talmid Chacham through gold, because he understood that the Torah is worth more than this gold. So Rabotai, we see from the story, we see from the Chachamim, what they tell us. Someone that doesn't have Torah study, someone that doesn't learn Torah, won't arise when Mashiach comes, won't be resurrected. Now, whenever Hashem takes back the soul, he comes to Shamayim, he has the din, he has the judgment, the big judgment of his whole life. They ask him a question. They ask him a lot of questions. One of the questions they ask him is, Kavati itim lo Torah. Did you set specific times to learn Torah? Now, as a side note, the Gaon Mevina, the Vilna Gaon, says in biblical Hebrew, Kavata means, did you steal? So you say Kavati itim lo Torah, meaning, did you steal time for Torah study? Did you look like a bandit, the small spots? Where can I find a small second to learn some Torah? You have to be able to listen. I know I have to set this specific time, this hour. Whatever happens, I don't care. The whole entire world could be doing whatever they want. I'm learning. That's the Vilna Gaon. Now the question is, did you study Torah regularly? People say, I didn't have time. I had to do this. I had to make money. I had kids. I had this. I had that. So Hashem said, the court is going to say, okay, no problem. Let's see. You had time for play basketball with your friends. You had time for TV. You had time for internet. You had time for the Netflix, for all the social media. You're flying through Facebook for the past 5 hours. YouTube videos non-stop. You go to a cat video that you're like, how in the world did I get here? This you had time for, but Hashem, you didn't have time. I don't have time. Because you don't have time. Well, so what about the tefillot? People have tefillot still. What about the tefillot? Shlomo Melech said in Mishlei, in Proverbs, he says, one who removes his ear from hearing Torah, his prayer also is an abomination. Meaning, if someone doesn't have time to learn, doesn't learn every day, even his prayers, whenever he prays, rejected. It's nothing. I don't want to listen to it, because you're not learning. Why? What's the reason? Rabbi Yonatan Eibeshitz gives a reason. He says, imagine there's one Abe. Let's say Abe over here, honest Abe. He wants intelligence. He wants to be smart. Hashem asks him for what? He says, I want to know where to invest. Abe asks for good health. So why? So that he says, I want to lift weights. I want to be healthy. Abe asks, I want bracha. He says, why? You want to open up another store? Hashem asks him, why are you making me these requests? What do I look like? Welfare? What do I give things for free? Now you look at Zev. See Zev over here. Zev studies Torah every day. For 1 hour, he has specific time. No matter what happens, I'm learning this hour. Every day, this hour. Zev asks for intelligence. Hashem asks for what? He says, so I can learn Torah. And not only that, after that, fine, he learns Torah. After that, he goes to work. He uses it for his business. Zev asks, I want good health. For what? So I can learn Torah. Afterward, he can use it to work out, to go to the gym. As long as it's a kosher gym, he can use it to exercise. Zev asks for bracha. Hashem asks him for what? He says, so I can learn your Torah. So you see that Zev, what's the difference in Zev and Abe over here? Zev, for every aspect that he asks for whatever he wants, he says, because I want to learn your Torah. It's specifically so I can learn. Not so I can this, not so that, and then maybe if it comes to it I can learn a little bit. So no, I want to learn. Because in this hour I learn. And then, I can use it for other things. Now, Shabbat is equivalent to all the mitzvot. And the same way, studying Torah is also equivalent to all the mitzvot. That meaning, one single Torah class, this Torah class, this class, or any class that you go to, any Torah class that teaches real Torah, is the equivalent of doing all the 613 mitzvot perfectly, without maybe here, maybe there, something, you didn't really do it with the best. It's perfectly. So you think about it, even to do mitzvah perfectly is very hard. As we see, there's a very, very known saying, Rabbi Hanania ben Akasha Omer, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לפיכך חיבר עליהם תורה מצוות. Rabbi Hanania ben Akasha says, Hashem wished to give the Jews merit, therefore He increased Torah and mitzvot for them. Because Hashem says, I want to give you merit, that's why I give you so much mitzvot. The Rambam, in Shmona Parkim, it's 8 chapters. He writes, why did Hashem give 613 mitzvot? He says the answer is, so that maybe one of them will actually be able to do one time correctly. One of them will be able to come out perfectly. Not correctly, perfectly. So that for one mitzvah it's so hard, and maybe we're going to get one of them perfectly. Every single time we're learning, we get 630 mitzvot done perfectly. Now, yeshivot and kollalim are always looking for donations. They come, I'm sorry to bother you, I have yeshiva, I have 50 guys over here, 1,000 guys, whatever it is, and they're struggling, they need money, please help. The yeshiva's in debt, this is in debt. Now, if you think about it truthfully, who's supporting who? Do we support the Torah, or does Torah support us? Now, to answer this, we can look at what happened with Yoshua and the Jewish people whenever they entered the land. It's going to happen soon, right now. We're about to finish the Torah, and Yoshua is taking over. Right after we finish Hazinu, Zot Bracha, technically, we go right after back to Bereshit, but technically it continues. It goes to the book of Yoshua, Joshua. It goes straight through. We see in that moment that whenever they're about to enter the land, the land of Israel, the Jordan River split. Hashem split it the same way He split the Yam Suf. And the Aron HaKodesh, the Ark played a very big part of here. It says in Yoshua, when the bearers of the Ark arrived at the Jordan, and the feet of the Kohanim bearing the Ark were immersed in the edge of the water descended from upstream, that descended from upstream stood still, meaning it didn't continue. It stood. And the Kohanim bearing the Ark stood firmly on dry ground, in the middle of the Jordan, while all Israel crossed on dry land. Meaning all of Am Yisrael crossed. And what is this saying? This is saying that the Kohanim were standing on the east bank, and they had to cross to the west bank of the Jordan. The Jewish people were already on the west bank, the Kohanim are still on the east bank. Now, it says that the Kohanim, bearing the Ark, went up from the Jordan, and the soles of the Kohanim's feet were removed from the dry ground, and the water of the Jordan returned to its place and flowed. So Rashi says over here, he says if you look carefully, it doesn't say that the Kohanim crossed the river. It says they went up. They went up from the Jordan. Meaning that they went straight up from the east bank. So, and the rest of the pasuk, the next pasuk says, when the people had finished crossing the Ark of Hashem, and the Kohanim crossed in front of the people. What does that mean? It means that the Ark carried the people that were carrying it. The Gemara says that whenever you carry something, you're carrying the load on your back. You're carrying the weight of it. However, for the Aron carried its carriers. So in front of all the people, the Ark picked up the Kohanim, levitated, and brought them across the river. Everybody saw this. All of Am Yisrael saw this. And generation through generation, they were telling this miracle on and on and on. Centuries later, when David HaMelech was taking the Aron, they were also seeing this. And whenever he was transporting it, the Aron had like a little bit of it was something messed up over there, that the people messed up over there, and the Aron looked like he was about to fall. And one tzaddik, Uzzah, saw it falling. He ran, he wanted to catch it, and because of that, right away he died. Why did he die? He wanted to save the Aron. Why did he die? Because he should have known. He should have known if the Aron could pick up its carriers. People that are carrying it, it picks it up. Obviously it could carry itself. So he should have known that it could have. You don't have to carry. You don't have to do anything to it. So Hashem, this means that Hashem takes care of the people that study Torah, support Torah study, support the study of Torah, and do mitzvot. Hashem supports all these people. Even though it looks to us that the Torah drains us, we have the money, and now we have to buy all these things. We have to buy in our sukkah, we have to buy kosher food, which is more expensive, kosher meat. All these things. We look like, wow, now we have to spend more. We have to work less. Chagim are coming. We have to work less. We have to spend more. But the truth is, it's exact opposite. The whole pipeline of bracha, the whole pipeline of the money and all the blessing that comes to this world is because of the Torah. It's the pipeline that brings all the money down to us. The people that support the Torah, since we support it, that's the the pipeline that brings all the money down to us. Shabbat also. Shabbat, you think, every week I have to get a nice big meal and spend all this money and not work on that day. This is the day, that's a weekend. It's the best day to make money. People have no work, they come for haircuts. They come, they want to do renovations. That's the day they come. It's the best day. But in truth, all the blessings come because of Shabbat. Now the Chachamim said that Torah was only given to the eaters of man, to the people that ate man. Now, in the desert, this happened literally, that for 40 years, the Am Yisrael survived on the man. They were studying full-time Torah without working. They didn't have to work. Every day they had the man from Shamayim, from Hashem, straight from Hashem. But it wasn't only the time of the desert. It also continues from all generations. Someone that learns, Hashem will support him. He doesn't have to work. Hashem will support him. If he has the emunah, he has bitachon, the full bitachon, the real bitachon. He doesn't even have to work. Because Hashem supports everybody. The same way that Hashem supported with the man, he can support nowadays. There's no difference. It's the same God then, same God now. Same strength then, same strength now. The Moshe took a little bit of the man, put it in a jar, and put it in the Aron, in the ark. The Midrash says that centuries later, that at the time of the Bet HaMikdash, very close to the destruction, Jeremiah, the prophet, said to the Jewish people, why don't you study Torah? Why don't you study? He said, what are we going to do? What are we going to live on? Right now the food is very difficult. It's very difficult to have. What are we going to live on? Yirmiyahu says, what are you going to live on? He goes to the Aron, he takes out the jar of man. He says, look at this. Look at this man. Look at what your ancestors who studied Torah. You said you can't study Torah because you don't know what to eat. Your ancestors, this is what they ate. They studied Torah. He said, if you study Torah, Hashem will also sustain you. You don't have to worry about it. Now the man, look at the man. The man kept Shabbat. The man fell double portion on Friday and didn't fall on Shabbat. The man, what does the man teach us? The man teaches to trust in Hashem, to rely only on Hashem, not on the boss, don't rely on any human being other than Hashem. You're not relying on any human, on anything. Now, the Aron, on the top of it stood two kruvim, and the cherubs look like two small children, innocent children, small kids. What do they ever do? What does it symbolize? Why two kids? Why not two strong men with muscles? Because these small kids, they symbolize growth. They symbolize development. If you look at an infant, you look at a kid that was just born, his mom, it's like, oh, look, you're so cute, you're so this, you're so that, start playing with her. And what happens? The baby soils himself. And what happens? What does the mom say? Oh, what's disgusting, fool, get out of here. What does she say? Oh, you finally, Baruch Hashem, she still loves him. Even though you just need in his pants, I love you. Why? Because the mother knows that in time, don't worry, he's going to grow. He's going to grow up. He's going to learn to stay clean. Even they go 1 year, okay, they still 2 years, about to be potty trained, this, that, everything, and then they stay clean. Eventually they stay clean, they stay nice. So Hashem loves people with this eagerness, the youthful eagerness that they want to always work on themselves spiritually, that they want to ascend. They don't want to stay in the same place. They don't want to go lower. They want to always go higher. Kids, they always go higher. They always learn. Shlomo HaMelech said, Chanoch lana'ar al pi darko, gam ki yazkin lo yasur mimena. That if, he says, educate the kid, the child, according to his way, and even when he grows old, he will not deviate from it. The simple meaning of this verse is that whatever you educated him whenever he was young, he will not go away from it even whenever he's old. But Rav Simcha Zissel comes and gives a chidush on this pasuk. He says, train the child that there's always more to learn. Whenever you teach him, there's always more to learn, there's always more. Even whenever he gets old, he will always have the mentality of there's always more to learn. There's a Mishnah that says, at night, Hashem comes down to learn with the children. The Maharal asks, he says, why with children? Why not with the Rosh Yeshiva? Hashem comes down to the kids. Come down to the Rosh Yeshiva. He's already a very big chacham. You're going to teach him. He's going to teach it to the whole world. So he comes and explains. He says, these children are people, but they're people that think they think like, what do I know? Well, I know nothing. I always have to learn more. I don't know enough. They're always eager to learn more, always eager to grow, always eager. They're like their kids, their children. So Hashem teaches these people. So Rabotai, we have to be like the Keruvim. So how? Being self-righteous, saying, I'm such a big tzaddik, I'm such a big, I accomplished so much. It's deadly. It could be deadly. It's very scary how many religious people break Shabbat, desecrate Shabbat every week out of ignorance. They think they know all the halachot. Of course. Can you do this? Yeah. No, you can't do this. You can do this, you can't do this. They think they know everything. But there's so many laws to learn. It's very important to learn the laws constantly, every time, constantly studying. Without constantly studying it, to desecrate Shabbat is inevitable if we don't study. We have to always study Torah. Rabotai, this week, this Thursday, is Yom Kippur. This is the best time to take it upon ourselves to improve Shabbat, the observance of Shabbat that we do. On Yom Kippur, even before Yom Kippur, take a halakha book, learn halachot Shabbat, whatever it is, Yalkut Yosef, Ben Ish Chai, Mishnah Berurah, they have all of it in English. All of it in English they have. Whether you're Sephardi or Ashkenazi, they have a book for you. There's a halachot book for you. Clear, concise, nice, English. They have. They have in English, they have in Hebrew, they even have in Russian. They have books in almost any language. Hashem made it very easy to learn halachot. B'ezrat Hashem, we do tשובה שלמה. Go through Yom Kippur and get cleansed, get clean. Go through Yom Kippur cleaned and get sealed in the book of life. Amen. Ken Yeratzon.